Welcome to the Pitch Chronicles. Today we will be breaking down Judge home run number 50. Oswaldo Cabrera almost put us ahead in the ninth. And what is wrong with Montas and giving up the home runs? And we will be breaking all of that down, plus more, on the Pinstripe Chronicles. Welcome back, I Tats. I'm here with Rob, and another frustrating loss. But at least this time we had a competitive loss, where it just didn't seem like we were completely out of it. I thought that it was one of those games the Yankees really should have had in the hand. I was very surprised that it was as close as. But when you're looking at how Montas has been pitching, I'm starting not to have a lot of trust in this guy. I know a lot of people don't look at wins and losses, but he's 4-11 now. For the season, that's not impressive. That's not number two numbers in a rotation. So I'm starting to get a little concerned about what this, how the rotation is going to play out at the, going into the playoffs. We touched a little bit on it yesterday with, do you go with Herman or Cortez as your number two and move Montas down the line a little bit? But as far as his outing specific to yesterday, he just looked like he didn't stick to a game plan, because there were times it was working, and then he kind of went away from what was getting the outs and leaving pitches where they were able to make contact.
Yeah, anytime you give up a home run to Mike Ford, that's never a good thing. But it was the Ohtani home run that really did him in. And he's had great numbers against Montas before. So I'm not gonna be like, Montas sucks because he gave up a home run to one of the best players in baseball. So if it was Ford again, I'd be like, dude, what are you doing out there? But people are making it seem like he just gave up 100 runs or something. We were in the game. At that, when you're struggling the way he was, all I can ask is that you keep us in it. And he did. And I wish he didn't give up that home run to Ohtani, of course, because we would have won the game. But Ohtani is that good that if he gets the better of you, you just be like, look, it's Ohtani. It's like if it was Trout or Ohtani, you're like, dude, that's just one of the best players in the game right now. You can't be too mad that he gave up a homer. Because he's been weird. He had a terrible start, his first start. Then he was better. Then he was bad. Then he was better. And this was kind of middle of the pack. Yeah, I wouldn't say it was a terrible start because he did have 6 strikeouts, no walks, but he also wasn't good either. So, I mean, people are saying we've been duped. We should have got Castillo. Once again, they weren't going to get Castillo. They weren't giving it up. They weren't giving up the prospects that the Reds wanted. They weren't matching what Seattle offered. Everyone screamed for Montas. He was the next best thing. We got him, and now you all are complaining. I can't stand it. Montas is not a terrible pitcher, but he did benefit from playing in that big ballpark in Oakland. So those fly balls, they're going to leave the ballpark in other stadiums that they wouldn't leave in Oakland. And now it's going to be up to him and up to the pitching staff, their pitching coaches, to try to find a way to correct it. Do I think he was terrible yesterday? No. Do I think he was good? No. It was average, but he went 6. He kept us in the ball game when he didn't have his best stuff. I mean, yeah, Ohtani beat him, and so did Mike Ford and Rengifo, or Gifo. I don't know how you say his name, but it was the Ford home run that really bothered me. Giving up one to Mike Ford, that pissed me off. But
that was his first home run since last May when he was with the Yankees.
Right.
So it's not like he's had this resurgence of power and putting the bat on the ball. He hasn't. I mean, but that would really, his shot was a really good home run. He really barreled that up really well, and we've seen Ford do that for us when he was with us from time to time. But the at bat with Ohtani, I think he overused the sinker. You can't throw the same pitch to a batter like Ohtani for 4 straight times and expect him to keep not get his timing on it. I thought that was the mistake. Not that Ohtani got the Ohtani. It's Ohtani. He's
Right.
it's you that you were making fun of Boone for tipping the cap. That was a tip the cap at bat because it's Ohtani. He's gonna get you if you let him. He's gonna beat you, and he's not gonna miss mistakes like that because that sinker just didn't sink.
It was a splitter.
Splitter.
I know what you're saying, though. He threw him the same pitch all four. Was it 4 pitches, 5 pitches?
Yeah,
whatever.
4. Yeah.
4 pitches, and it was all splitter. So eventually Ohtani's like, okay, well, now I know what you're throwing. So you're right, though. He threw him the exact same pitch, and Ohtani beat him.
Yeah, and he wasn't overly fooled on the other ones either. He was just missing it. So why keep throwing it? Throw the slider. Throw a fastball up that you had his eye that he was looking for the pitch down. There was so many other ways you could have gone in that at bat. I don't want to dwell on just that because it's not like that was the only reason that he had a rough outing. It was what amplified the mistake to Ohtani is you had just taken the lead in the top of the inning, and you were unable. No, that was the Ford home run that he tied it. The Ford home run, you had just given the lead, and you gave it right back. It's almost like they are allergic to the shutdown inning, and that's very frustrating.
Yeah, but again, it's not like he was getting beat by the bottom of the order. He got the first 2 out, and then he gave up a hit to Trout and the home run to Ohtani. Again, these are 2 of the best players in baseball. And if I'm not trying to excuse him, but if you're gonna get beat by their best guys. It's the same excuse people were using with Garrett Cole when he was giving up bombs to Devers. Like, well, at least they're one of their better hitters. Why can't we say the same thing for Montas? He got beat by Trout and Ohtani in that inning. It's not like, because I'm looking at it right now. He struck out Velasquez and he got Fletcher. If it was Velasquez and Fletcher that did it, Fletcher's still a good hitter, but you'd be like, dude, you're giving up hits to Velasquez. He got beat by 2 of their best players, who are just 2 of the best players in baseball, so happened. So again, it wasn't a great start. I'm not trying to excuse him, but he got beat in that instance by their 2 best guys. The Ford home run bothered me more than Ohtani. Yeah, I know Ohtani's homer gave up the lead, but it was Trout and then Ohtani that got the job done. Yeah, if you're the Angels, what more could you ask for?
And let's also remember with the Trout at bat, that was a very lucky single. If that has just a few more seconds of hang time in the air, that's just a fly out.
Right.
So it was, and if I think that was with 2 outs, wasn't it?
Yeah, because he got Velasquez, he struck out Velasquez, and he got Fletcher to line out.
There you go, inning over. A little 2-run bloop single. It's all right, but like you said, it's Trout. Sometimes you just need to be a little lucky, and the Angel, Trout and Ohtani were lucky that they were able to get that the 2-out magic going for them. And the other thing, speaking of 2-out magic, we almost had Cabrera. I thought that was gone. I thought that was going to go. I thought it was going to carry enough. It died out on the track. You also have Trout, who's one of the best players in baseball, running it down. As soon as you saw it was starting to die out, and it was in center field where Trout is, it was going to be an out. That wasn't going to get over his head. He wasn't going to misplay the ball. He doesn't do that. But,
yeah, it was a tough way for it to end. Yeah. I thought he was going to do it, and it would have been fun if it was Cabrera. But that was, look, if you're talking about baseball needing to bring some eyes to the sport. I mean, you sold everyone on, it was Ohtani versus Judge, and they both went yard and both hit absolute bombs. So if you're looking for positives for the sport, there it is. Ohtani showed out and Judge showed out. Guess there's something, but I mean, obviously we wanted to win the game, but at least we didn't go down without a fight, which was how we were losing in the first half. So if there's some Aaron Boone turning the corner quote to be used, at least we went down fighting. Well, still lost, but
I think if you take away your fandom and you're watching it as a fan of the game, that was one of those. It was a very entertaining game. It came down to the very last out. and you had, you know, the people you expected. Think of everything that had happened. You have former Yankee, that was just thrown away for nothing, and Ford getting a little revenge on his former team. You have that storyline. Trout and Otani, putting the Angels on their back with 2 outs and coming through. Judge with his 50th home run. Rizzo, who's been struggling, hits a shot. It was the ninth inning, how that all played out. It was very, for baseball. That's a game that every fan could enjoy, and I think that's one takeaway that you have to have from it.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing. You can look at it and be like, that's a positive for the sport. You gotta take the fan, you gotta take the hat off, you gotta take everything off. Be like, as a baseball fan, it's a fun game. The Yankee fan, it sucked because we lost again. So that's just the simple matter. But we should talk about what I do want to talk about is the lineup, because there are some people out there that are blaming the Angels for not pitching to Aaron Judge, which I think is ridiculous.
That's such a stupid narrative.
They're getting mad. It's like, how could you not? Like, what are you afraid? Yeah, they're afraid. Of course, you don't want to pitch to Aaron Judge with 2 outs when look who's behind him. It's Benintendi, and I like Benintendi. And I'm not saying Benintendi's bad, but if you're going to choose who to pitch to in a big spot, it's either Aaron Judge or Andrew Benintendi. You're going to pick Benintendi every single time. So yesterday I said if they just didn't, I can't say the word, mess with the lineup, maybe this game goes differently, because you would have had Judge up twice in big 2-out spots, and then Benintendi behind, Stanton would have been behind him, and they would have had to pitch the Judge, because you don't want to, you mean most times you don't take your shot pitching to Stanton, because it's like pick your poison there. But I don't know why they keep messing with the lineup. They let off with LeMahieu, then it's Judge, then Benintendi, and you drop Rizzo to 6. They went righty, righty, lefty, righty, righty, lefty, righty, righty, switch. It was a weird way they did the order. And just why not just leave Rizzo in the 3 spot then? If you really want that lefty, but I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking, putting Benintendi as Judge's protection, because we've seen when it's not Rizzo or Stanton, it's not working. You're going to pitch to Benintendi every single time over Aaron Judge. So they said, yeah, take the free base. We're not going to let you go yard, because guess what happens when they did pitch to him? He hit his 50th home run of the year and hit an absolute missile. So, of course, they're not going to pitch to him.
And they only pitched to him because nobody was on base.
Right, and they kind of had no choice.
It was almost one of those, you had the feeling that even if there was a runner on first, they would have intentionally walked him. They weren't going to pitch to him if there was a runner on. They just weren't going to give him that opportunity. They weren't going to open the window for the Yankees to tie up the game. They would take their chances with Benintendi, who's not. And I think it's safe to speak for you. It's not that you're saying Benintendi's a bad player. The 3 spot was not the spot for him. You don't put him between Judge and Stanton. That's Rizzo's spot if you want to do that, because there's no power. Benintendi's a good contact hitter. He could put a ball in the gap, and in that park, a ball in the gap could be a double or more. So it was really bad lineup. Not that the players were bad, but it was just constructed poorly.
Yeah, it was the way it all shaped out, because I know Benintendi's had good numbers in the 3 spot with Kansas City, but the Royals don't have Aaron Judge in their lineup batting second. It's just simple baseball. It's like when you're going against San Francisco back in the day, it's like, okay, well, we're going to pitch to Barry Bonds. No, you're going to intentionally walk Barry Bonds. They're giving Judge the Bonds treatment. Like, people don't want to compare the two, but that is exactly what you would do to Barry Bonds. You don't want to pitch to him in a big spot, so you're going to pitch to the guy behind him. You're going to take your chances with Benintendi. And if Benintendi beats you, he's not sending one over the wall. It's going to be, like you said, it'd be a double. He's a contact hitter at this stage. He's transformed himself from he did have some pop. I don't want to say a power hitter, but he had pop back with the Red Sox in his first year with Kansas City. But this year, he's been contact. So he's going to get those doubles. He's going to get those singles, those soft ground balls that get through the middle. That's what he has been, and that's what's worked with him. And once again, the Yankees keep using him as a different player. Because what happened last week, they batted him second in front of Judge, and he came up twice in big RBI spots and didn't come through. And that shut me up because I was like, maybe you should try batting him second, and it didn't work. Here we are again. They don't pitch to Judge, and Benintendi's up in big RBI spots, and he's not that guy. He's not an RBI guy, which is fine. He's a table setter, and it's been working. When he's batting first, Judge is behind him. It's been working. And yet Aaron Boone every single day is changing this lineup, trying to get something to click when it clicked the first game in Oakland, and then he changed it immediately after. So why are we doing this? We learned our lesson. I thought we did the first 13 games when we were 7-6, and the lineup changed every single day. They finally had a good set base at the top, and they didn't shy away from that, and they started winning ball games. Here we are again. The team is losing a lot of games to bad teams, and we're changing the lineup every single day. And this was basically your full lineup. I mean, this is a lineup you'd probably see come game one of the division series. And he only scored 3 runs. So at this point, why not just stick with what was working for a little while when you had that winning streak and keep Benintendi at the top of the order and stop trying to maneuver things around when it's not working?
No, I think the lineup should be as like I feel like we just because the lineups changed so much, it's a constant talking point for us. But why he can't have Benny, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, LeMahieu, why that can't be your the start of your first 5? That is a very tough lineup to get through. And then that still leaves you with with reliable players on the bottom of the order, with Trevino and Cabrera, IKF. Although he's having a typical year, he does put the bat on the ball, so he's not an automatic out. He's not gonna wow you. He's just going to do his job. He's going to put the barrel. He's going to barrel up. But I also thought with the pinch hit in the 9th, I think we were shown by Bone how far Hicks has fallen out of the Yankee trust. Not going to the switch hitter to hit from the left side and going to Donaldson, who on the first pitch was just he was locked in. That's what we needed from. I think that's one of the better, even though it was only one pitch. That's one of his better at bats we've seen in a while, because he had a job to do and he came up to the plate and he did it. I think that was his best at bat since the Grand Slam. Yeah,
and it was with 2 outs. Came right up. I don't remember what exactly the pitch was. I'm trying to find that out now, but was it it was a sinker. So he hit a sinker and just laced it. Okay, so look. It's what you asked coming off the bench, but our bench is a concern right now. If that's your lineup and Josh Donaldson's your best bet to get a big at-bat off the bench, man, do we need Matt Carpenter. And even if we had Carpenter right now, he'd be starting. Or he might not actually even be starting, because do you play him in right field over Cabrera? Like, what do you do? But in the playoffs, I think Carpenter might have to be on the bench just simply for a situation like this to get his bat. But he's also – it's tough to ask anyone to come up in a pinch hit situation and get the job done. Most players don't have good numbers as a pinch hitter anyway. But, man, Aaron Hicks, Josh Donaldson, Marwin Gonzalez, those are your choices to pinch hit in the late scenario. And, hats off to Donaldson for getting the job done. But Jesus Christ, do we need – something to have off the bench, man. And losing Carpenter was so big, because I don't think we're struggling this much if he's healthy still.
No, I really, that could be a factor with Carpenter not being there. That's a big part of the wheel that's missing, because it was a lefty at bat, good contact with power, where, like we said, Betty is your contact hitter with some pop. When you have contact with power like you did with Carpenter, that's a big piece of the puzzle that the Yankees need back. And who knows if he's coming back, what capacity he's coming back. But the other thing from last night that you noticed is Stanton's timing is almost where it's supposed to be. He had the pop up with the runner on. His next at bat when he laced that single up the middle, that was like, okay, that's what we need him to do. We need him to just put the ball in play.
Yeah, he had that one line out. No, you're thinking about the line out because he didn't get a hit last night. But his line out was like 105 off the bat. So he's got it there. Like it's there, like you said. His swing is there, but we need it. We desperately need it, but he needs to be behind Aaron Judge. Like that's just it needs to be him or Rizzo behind Judge. I would rather, because I know Donald brought that up. He wants Stanton as Judge's protection to lineup, and I think he makes a really good point because, again, think about last night. If Stanton's hitting behind Judge, they have to pitch to Judge.
Yeah,
they have to. You don't really. If the very least you pitch around him, and maybe you make a mistake and you hang one, and he takes it deep. And look, even if Judge gets out, you go. You'd rather go down with your best player than not see him get to swing the bat. I don't blame the Angels at all for that, by the way, but Stanton's at-bats have been better. Whenever you hit it 105 like he did, because he's got, I think, the highest average exit velocity in baseball, at least the swing's there. Just need him to get on the field more, and I think he'll be, sooner than later, he'll be back to himself. That should have been a hit. Most of the time you hit it 105 off the bat, it's going to be a hit. We need his bat to get going, and we need a lot of other bats to get going because I'm sick of losing to teams like the Angels and the Athletics.
No, it's unacceptable. Yeah, and it's a word we've been using often as well. You know, as that was a tough loss. Last night it just sucked. It's plain and simple. You know, and the Angels and Phil Nevin knows his team very well. Let's not forget also who's managing for the Angels yesterday. You know, and he's another one that's a baseball lifer. You know, and he knew he was not going to have his first game against his former team. He wasn't gonna let them get the better of him. He knew to walk Judge. You know, and not having that's where the lineup really becomes such a head scratcher day in and day out. You have to put your lineup together where you do not take the bat out of your best player's hand. I don't care what the rest of the lineup look like. As long as Stanton or Rizzo is sitting behind Judge, I'd rather Stanton. Anything else could be shuffled around. I don't care at this point. But have those two back to back in the lineup. That's the only way that you are going to make sure that Judge, as your best hitter, is being pitched to.
Right, because I mean, even if Rizzo's behind him, do they intentionally walk him? Maybe. But then at least with Rizzo, because he already went deep that night when he was batting sixth, but we've seen Rizzo come through in that scenario already this year where they don't pitch the Judge and they take their chances with Rizzo, and Rizzo says, okay, and he makes him pay for it. Let's not forget, he hit his 29th home run of the year last night, so he's got the power. We know he can come through. He's been clutch in the past. It just hasn't been coming as frequently as it was early in the year. But I'd rather have Rizzo up in that spot if you're not pitching the Judge. I'd rather have Stanton up in that spot if you're not pitching the Judge. It's nothing against Benintendi, but you want your run producers. And it wouldn't even be LeMahieu because LeMahieu's been terrible this year at runners in scoring position, which is very unlike him. But you want your best guys. Like that's what the lineups always used to be. It's your best players kind of follow one another, you know, and you're hoping the bottom of the order gets something because at full strength, you're thinking Benintendi, Judge, Stanton, Rizzo, LeMahieu is your top five. And then you can round it out however you want, but the bottom four, it's just, I don't know why they keep changing it because last night was a prime example of stop messing with the lineup because it just cost you a chance to let Aaron Judge swing the bat, who it's a perfect segue. Let's talk about his 50th home run because we got a few minutes left.
Yeah, no, it was a shot. There was a no doubting. And it's just the season that he's putting together and the power that he's hitting with this season. Even as a shallow fly ball, as soon as you hear it off the bat, you jump up out of your seat. That's the type of season he's having. But for 50, I think he's now the 10th player in baseball to have multiple 50 home run seasons. So, he's putting himself in an elite group, and he's not done yet. There's still a month and a week to go, a little over a month. The Maris record for the American League for most home runs, it's looking more. The probabilities of it happening where he passes 61 is looking better and better.
I don't think he gets it simply because they won't pitch to him. If they keep messing with this lineup, then teams aren't going to pitch to him. They're going to say, I'm not going to let you beat me, so I'm just going to pitch to the guy behind you. If it's Stanton behind Judge, then yeah. You need – I don't want to shy away from the top because Judge has hit his 50th home run. And before the season, he was doing a video, or there was a video of him training, and he said, I'm hitting 50 again this year. And he was right, because he's at 50 right now. He's going to hit more. He's going to break the number he had in his rookie year, which was incredible. He had 52. And you think about it, had he not gotten hit in the wrist in 2018, he probably would have gotten close to 50 that year. 2019, the same thing. He missed a lot of time. He hit like 28 in those years. He would have been around like 40-something. And then last year, he just missed 40. So, this guy is an incredible power hitter, and he's an incredible hitter. He's always hitting for high averages and a ton of home runs, ton of RBIs. He's always got a high on base. His OPS is through the roof. His slugging is through the roof. His weighted runs created play. Everything about him shows you he is one of the best players in the game. And we talked about it ad nauseum all season, and we talked about it again yesterday. Pay the man. Because once again, yesterday, right after we said it, if there was ever a game that showed you who runs your team, it's Aaron Judge, because they did not pitch to him out of fear that he was going to beat them. You take him out of that lineup, they're pitching to any single one of those guys and saying, we dare you to hit it. They are not taking that shot with Aaron Judge.
And it wasn't and you're not talking about late in the inning either. This is early and in the middle of the game.
Yep.
That they wanted to take the bat out of his hand. That Phil Nevin was not taking any chances. He put up those 4 fingers. I'll take he goes, I'll worry about Benny. That's the impact that, like you said, that's the impact Judge has on his team right now. And I think you're right is where 61 might not be as easy a road as we thought. They're not going to, and Nicky said it a lot on the show when he was guesting with us. They're going to stop pitching to him.
They shouldn't pitch to him.
They shouldn't. But you increase the chances of them thinking twice about it if you have the right person behind them. So if Aaron Boone really wants to make a special season for him, for Judge, even more special, stop messing with the lineup.
They need to throw the analytics out the window because we've heard it last year. A computer comes up with the best generated lineup and then the human element. I don't know if that's still the case this year, whoever the dude, Mike Fishman or whatever that's running the analytics department. If they're looking at Benintendi's numbers in the 3 spot and saying, yeah, that guy deserves to be the protection for Aaron Judge, he needs to be fired because it's just simple. Look at I keep saying it, but look at what happened yesterday. You don't have that happen if Giancarlo Stanton is batting behind Aaron Judge, because even if Stanton is 0 for 4, and I don't care if Stanton had been hitless. I think he has like 1 or 2 hits since coming back. But even if he was hitless since coming back from the IL, like you said, a manager is going to think twice. It's like if I put Judge on, I run the risk of Stanton just taking 1 swing and 3 runs are on the board just like that.
Yep.
You have to think about that. If Judge is going to be locked into that 2 spot, Stanton or Rizzo need to be 3. It probably should be Stanton, but I can't say it enough. Last night, that really bothered me that they once again messed the lineup.
Yep. No, and it's going to be curious to see what the lineup is tonight. We'll be breaking that down tomorrow. You have been watching the Pinstripe Chronicles, brought to you by Northeast Streaming Sports and Sportswire Radio, where you pinstripe your pride and play hard.